This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
Hi, I'm Mark from Closetm, and today I'm going to demonstrate how we measure our men's pants. We sell a lot of pants, and we take a lot of measurements, and I only think it's right to show you how we do it. So, the waist is marked. These have a marked size of 34 by 34. And not all pants are going to have a length marked size, but you shouldn't really pay too much attention to the marked size. The measurements are what really count. So, let's see what these measure. I'm just going to hold the waist straight across. Eric, please zoom in. Now, these are pretty close to true to size. They measure, it goes to about 35 inches, but that's on the outside. The interior measures, we're at about 34 and a half. So we're going to put 34 and a half. We have a lot of pants that are marked a size 34. They measure 35, 36. Sometimes they can measure up to 38. Sometimes they'll measure at 33. So it's important to look at the actual waist measurement. And in addition to that, you also want to look at the rise of the pants, because depending on the length of the rise, it's going to determine where the pants sit on your hips. Pants with a longer rise are going to come up higher, and with a lower rise they're going to sit down lower. And if they have a lower rise, you're going to want the waist measurement to be slightly larger than the marked size. So the best thing to do really is to measure a few of your own pants that fit you well and compare the measurements to the measurements you see on our site or someone else's. So we've got this waist measurement. We're not going to pull it real tight to stretch it. We're going to hold it straight across the tape measure and get it. We don't want to stretch it out, and we don't want to under stretch it. So we just want to hold it consistent to the way we think it's going to be held around your waist. Now we're also going to look at room to let out. There's two things that we look at. Can we zoom in on this also? You have this fabric that's over here, but what's really getting let out is what's up here in the waistband. So we're also going to see here. There could be, the length of the fabric here is 2 1/4 inches. And up here we've got, between the two sides, I've got 2 1/2 inches on the waistband. But I'm not going to want to let it out all the way. So if I see something like this and it has 2 1/2 inches, I'm probably going to back it up to 1 3/4 or 2 inches. I'm not, depending on how over or under 2 1/2 inches it is. I don't really want to leave much less than 3/4 of an inch to remain. Now the inseam of the pants, well actually while we're up here, why don't we do the rise. The rise of the pants is done from the crotch seam, where all 4 seams meet below the zipper, and the top of the fly. Now these measurements can be inconsistent depending on the pants, because the crotch seam isn't always in the same place, and it's not always going to fall exactly the same, but it should give you a general idea of how they're going to fit and how they compare to your pants. Now these have a 12-inch rise. So generally pants, that's a normal rise. A lower rise, normally we're going to see plain front pants without pleats, or made in today's market, are going to have a lower rise. And you might see the rise measure anywhere between 9 and 11 inches depending on the size of the pants. The smaller the size, the shorter the measurement. As they go up in sizes, well, the rise needs to get larger. So that's how this measurement is taken. Okay, now let's go to the inseam, and we're going to use that same seam that we used for the rise to start our inseam measurement, but on the outside. And it's the inner seam on the pant leg, and we're going to hold the pants straight across the tape measure. Now, zoom in on that. As you can see, that's 29 1/2 inches. Much different than the 34 inches that the inseam was marked. So obviously the guy had them shortened. And we're also going to look at the cuff. The cuff is 1 1/2 inches. Now with a cuff, generally the easiest way to make a cuff is to fold the material all the way down. So if you've got 1 1/2 inch cuff and you want to lengthen the pants, you've really got 3 inches of fabric here, plus whatever it is that's tucked underneath. You have a hem. In this case, the hem is folded in one time. So I'm going to measure the hem I'm getting an 1 3/8, but the hem is a little bit, it was cut with one of those zigzag scissors. I'm not sure what it's called. And in some places the measurement dips below an 1 3/8. So I'm going to back up my measurement to an inch on the hem. So generally, if we say that there's an inch of a hem, the hem measures 1 inch, there's going to be a little bit more fabric than what we say, because we never want to exaggerate a measurement. Now sometimes the hem can be folded in the one time and then folded under again. And in that case, we're going to feel how much material is there, and we're going to add to the measurement. So here we have a 29.5 inch inseam with an 1.5 inch cuff, and we're going to say a 1 inch hem. So I'm going to add 4 inches to the total inseam. If I'm considering lengthening the pants, I'm going to say, okay, I've got 3 inches in the cuff, I've got 1 inch in the hem. That gives me 33.5 inches. I've got a lot of room to work with, so I can make the inseam considerably longer. Plus, a lot of times you can still keep the cuff. This material does not need to be folded down all the way to make a cuff. You just need to have the appearance of a cuff. This is just the easiest way to do it. You can do what's called, sometimes it's referred to as a false cuff, where the fabric is just folded down like a 1/2 inch. Some people refer to it as a French style cuff. Whatever it is, it gives you the appearance, it gives you the same effect with less fabric. And you can do that. I'd love to say a lot of our customers do that. I have no idea what they do with their pants once they get them. Had to take a quick break. Okay, the last measurement I want to take is the outseam. For the outseam, I'm going to go from the top of the waistband along the outer seam of the pants that goes down right over here, and I'm going to go to the bottom here. And for some people, this is the best measurement for the length of the pants, because if you're like me, no matter what the rise is like, the pants are always going to sit on the same place as your hips. And all you really care about is how far down the leg goes. And if the rise, since there's always going to be a variance in the rise of the pants, this is the most accurate measurement for me. For some people, when the rise changes, they're shaped a little bit differently, where the pants sit is going to change. But for some people it doesn't, and they should really look at the outseam measurement. I hope this was helpful. We have a few different people measuring, and we all learned the same way, and we try to do everything as consistently as possible. If you have any questions about any of the items that we're selling, please feel free to send us an email. Thanks for watching.